What's up, wave makers? It's me, Mommy Tsunami! And today we have a reaction video. Now, I don't have the name of who sent this to me. One of you guys sent this to me on Instagram, but what always happens is that I screenshot my phone to remember who sent it to me so it doesn't get lost in my DM so I can remember to shout the person out. But yeah, sometimes my phone just doesn't save the screenshots and then it's just lost into oblivion in my DMs. So I'm sorry, I don't remember who sent this to me. Also, I keep hearing like a rattling behind me and I have no idea what it is. So like maybe there's a ghost. If there's any ghosts in here, please leave. I'm trying to film a YouTube video, thanks. The person who posted this just titled it, "Some Thoughts About the Unwell Docu-Series." I actually haven't watched it all the way through yet. I think I watched like her introduction before she starts actually getting into the point. This should be interesting. I'm curious to know if this hun has anything good to say about it, because from my perspective and from a lot of other anti-MLMers perspectives, I don't think most of us necessarily think this documentary was bad, even though it portrays a lot of things about essential oils and MLMs that we do not agree with. I'm just curious to see how someone else from the other side reacts to it and see how much bullshit they spout off. Also, there are people in the comments, I'm presuming they're also other huns, being like, mic drop, as if she's like schooling fucking Netflix on their knowledge of essential oils, and also all of the medically trained and like scientifically trained people who are interviewed in the show. I don't know, so I'm curious. Let's just press play.
What's up, you friggin' weenies? So I told you, as promised, we're gonna talk about the docu-series Unwell and its implications about essential oils, which I think a lot of you have had this come up in conversation lately. So we're gonna kind of go through what I think is the important takeaways, maybe how you can approach this subject, and the perspective that I have towards the whole thing. So thanks for being here, those that are live. I'm gonna try to save this, throw it on YouTube later. I will try my...
Real quick, just notice the fucking wall of doTERRA oils behind her. So this is how you know we're in for a very pro-oil perspective here. She's drinking the Kool-Aid and she's putting drops of peppermint oil in it as well.
My best, obviously besides the weenie intro, to keep things as grown up as possible, because the goal is that you can share this with your team leaders. And those of you that don't follow me and don't know my teaching style might be a little bit off-put. So I'm going to try really good. I'm going to try to do this as well.
I'm going to try really good to not be a bitch in this video.
First and foremost, what is this docu-series? So on Netflix, just released earlier on the 12th, I believe, is a docu-series called Unwell. And it takes you through like 6 mini episodes. And the very first episode is all about essential oils. And I'm going to kind of walk you through the roller coaster that it is. But it also highlights things like bulking up with breast milk, fasting, ayahuasca, bee sting therapy, tantric sex. Things that have been, minus the breast milk, honestly, I would say minus the breast milk and bodybuilding, all of these other topics have been widely used for a very long time. And have been proven to be helpful for a holistic, whole body approach to wellness.
Well, define proven. I mean, we'll get into it, I'm sure, but define proven, bitch!
What I don't really like about this docu-series is that it's sort of thrown together in a way that leaves you feeling confused. The common theme with all of the topics that they talk about is that people are really fed up with Western medicine. They're fed up with the normal, go to the doctor, here's your prescription, oh, that didn't help, here's another one to try, oh, that didn't help, go see this guy, and he's gonna offer you the same solutions. So the whole, this came together because we do have a very broken healthcare system here in the United States. So
I agree.
It was no surprise to me that this was put together. If you look at, and this is the only part of this video where I will sound even remotely like a conspiracy theorist.
I love it.
Right now, fear is driving a lot of what we do. And if you look at the systems we have been sort of shackled to, whether it's politics or healthcare, we are not the ones really in control. But it's when you take some steps back from what we're told to do, and when you try to figure things out on your own using your best investigative research, talking to people, choosing your own practices, that's when you can really find healing.
Oh, that's really, really good advice to be giving people. Are you serious? Hey, don't trust what all these doctors and shit are saying. How about you take it into your own hands? That's when you're really gonna feel better. Fuck off. That's so fucking dumb. I was with her when she was saying, like, fear drives a lot of what we do. You know what? Honestly, fear drives people to essential oils. Oh, the doctors aren't gonna help you. They don't know what they're talking about, but we have the power of Mother Nature and the earth. There's no reason to be afraid as long as you have your essential oils. Also, buy from me. Here's my doTERRA link. Ugh, gross.
And the cool thing about most holistic remedies is that they don't have a large range of side effects like Western medicine.
Oh, really? No fucking surprise. Like, let's take this for example. Let's take fucking poison ivy. If you rub that shit all over your body, the side effect is going to be that it gives you rashes. And just because something is natural doesn't mean that it doesn't have side effects. We saw in the Unwell series, one of the doctors was talking about, wait, was it Unwell or was it Natalia Taylor's video? Either way, I think it was in both. People are like consuming, for example, water with like a few drops of lemon oil in it every single day. And over the course of time, it has been shown, we have seen cases where it erodes at mucous membranes and like your stomach lining and shit like that. Like, people have long-term side effects from your shit too. You cannot sit here and say, holistic, oh my God. Okay, because I watched all of Unwell by now, and every single one of those episodes tackle, a different kind of wellness. And every single one of those had people who had some sort of side effect from it. For example, like the tantric sex one, the side effect was kind of like abuse and stuff like that. But like the other ones, like I forgot what that word is. The one that was like they were on psychedelics and shit. People were having seizures. They showed it like during the whole retreat. Bee venom and stuff, like, hello. The reason that shit works is because of the side effect, I guess, that, putting venom on your face is going to do. This really irks me to hear her say, like, holistic, all this shit, all this stuff that I believe in doesn't give you side effects. Yes, it does. It does just as much as modern medicine. And one point that a lot of you guys were making in my comment section of my Unwell video was like, it's crazy when these people say that their shit is natural based or whatever, when so many things are made from plants. But a lot of people mentioned the same thing in their comments. Like, yeah, aspirin is made from natural based ingredients and stuff like that. You know what I'm trying to say?
So the common theme in this whole series is people are fed up, so they're trying other things. Now, what I don't like is that they are highlighting these very real, like essential oils, water fasting, and bee sting therapy. That is something that I know are real methods for wellness. I believe in the power of those things. Being a nursing mama, it's not a far stretch for me to see how people would use breast milk in interesting, weird ways, because when I nursed my kids for 5 years total, if I had, pink eye or something going on with them, you just put some breast milk on it. So I also believe in the magical powers of breast milk. So we're going to kind of go through the essential oil segment and why this kind of came across confusing, because the episode is sort of half and half.
Right, it's supposed to be that way. Here's what a lot of people don't understand, and all the people that I've heard critique this show is just like, why don't you make a stance? Like, what are you trying to say? Now I'm confused. Now I'm like, are essential oils good or are they bad? And it's like, if you use critical thinking skills, if you use like general logic and knowing what sources are trustworthy, I guess, it's not that hard to figure out. Because they do have like people who are experts who are in here talking about this kind of stuff in every single episode. Doctors and scientists and researchers and things like that. If you hear them speaking right next to fucking Dr. Z and you go, I don't know which one is telling the truth. Bitch, I can't help you then. Like, the docu-series is not trying to necessarily make you believe one way or another. It is presenting both sides, and that's what I liked about it, because it wasn't necessarily biased, because it did give each side a chance to speak about why they feel the way they do, why they use it, why they don't recommend it, why, things like that. So, okay, if you're gonna find it confusing and not just take it for what it is just an interesting deep dive into different wellness and health techniques and the people who use them. It shouldn't be confusing. If you're confused by it, like, then I can't fucking help you. I hope that makes sense, because it's really frustrating to me whenever people are like, it's so confusing and now I don't know, and I think that it highlights how great essential oils are. It's like, well, it really doesn't. I mean, it does, and then right after that it presents someone who doesn't feel that way. So use fucking critical thinking skills. You can figure it out for yourself.
It gives you this great introduction to essential oils, and then it just slams you with a lot of different dramatic topics. So let's get into it. What I like about this is that essential oils are being talked about, period. And that's a huge win. When I first started sharing doTERRA 7 years ago, it was a very far stretch for people to understand how you could use something like tea tree to support your skin, how you can use our blend On Guard to support immune function in the body, or use lavender for better restful sleep or to reduce anxious feelings. That was kind of a far stretch. And a lot of us in the beginning got labeled as these like crazy crunchy plant moms or the psychopaths on the block that have an oil for everything. And you know what? We gladly wore that like a badge of courage. Like we all owned that very well.
Nothing has changed against her fucking argument where she literally is just like, we've been using essential oils for thousands of years. And now she's like, well, when doTERRA first came around, no one really used essential oils. It's like, well, then which one is it, Karen? When there's scientific studies to back your shit up, you're totally credible. But in this case, that's just not how it is. On my side, and I am not in her ring, I am her opponent, I think it's a good thing that essential oils are being talked about too. Because when they're being talked about in this light, it gives people like a different perspective. Instead of just hearing Karen talk about essential oils on Facebook and how great they are and how you need to take these and give these to your kids for vaccines instead, just crazy shit like that. Instead of just being in that bubble, these kind of documentaries, when they're talking about essential oils in this way, gives whoever who saw all that shit on Facebook a different perspective to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe what Aunt Karen was saying on Facebook isn't actually true. That's why I'm glad that people are talking about essential oils, because quite frankly, they need to be talked about because there's so much misinformation.
This was a far cry, 10 years ago. You didn't hear about oils as much. I like that they're mainstream. Do I like that we have crappy oils available to us at Hobby Lobby and Best Buy, and we have other companies claiming to be our oils? No. But that's just part of being...
I'm sorry. I mean, this is news to me. Does Best Buy sell essential oils? Like, I wouldn't put it past Hobby Lobby because of a lot of reasons, I guess. I would think that at Hobby Lobby, whatever essential oils they're selling they're more like the fragrance ones, you know what I mean? Because they're formulated differently. Like, you can put in like candles and I don't know, whatever people craft with smells. But Best Buy? Someone tell me. Because that's new.
Being in any industry, you're going to have the people that go against the grain, the folks that cut corners, the folks that make false claims. Like, haters are haters, right? And so you're going to have that no matter what. But the good thing about this docuseries is that the very first episode is about essential oils. We are on the map, y'all. People are talking about it. People are willing to have conversations. It's more commonplace to use plant medicine than it has been before. So that's a huge win. And I hope...
You know what's crazy about this is that before modern medicine, all there really was plant medicine. I think her history is off. But I get what she's saying. Like, oh, we're so mainstream now. Yeah, you are. But when you're mainstream, you've got more people talking about you in an opposing manner.
The second thing is that if you have been sharing essential oils for a long time, like me, this puts oils in a perspective that maybe you couldn't do. So the moms or the friends that you have or the people that you have been trying to help or sample to or provide some oil support to that have been resistant and have declined, they're now going to be a little bit more open to the idea.
Are they? Because there were plenty of scientists that literally, people who were well respected in their industries, disproving everything that your people were saying in the documentary. So, all right, go ahead, show them Unwell, be my fucking guest. But don't sit here and be like, watch Unwell, but skip these parts because it's just nonsense. It's not true. It's fake news. Because, okay, like, talk about an echo chamber. Like, I just don't get it. She goes and she says, we're all left so confused. And then at the same time, she's also like, show this to someone and they will understand essential oils better now. And it's like, yeah, I guess they will, but not in the way you want them to.
So this to me is a great door opener. So it's going to help you start a lot of really great conversations, because what goes down in this episode is crazy, you guys. I'm not even playing with you. It's crazy. So I like that. And then the other thing I like is that there's some really powerful testimonials. It shows how essential oils are used in a hospital setting, used, before and after surgery protocols.
She's talking about the first segment here, and that woman specifically said that she uses it for aromatherapy. She puts shit on a cotton ball for like diffusing, massage. Also, like, I forgot what, hachibori, I think is what she called it. I might be butchering that, I'm sorry. But she just puts some drops on a hot towel and then you like put it on your face. But she never once says you should be ingesting them. And with doTERRA, they're all ingesting these oils as well. The testimonials testimonials that she's saying are so great, yeah, I think a lot of us can agree that there are some helpful ways to use essential oils, but everything in that documentary, I mean, unless you're gonna watch the Dr. Z section and be like, you know what, I agree with that guy, like watch the whole thing and only take that section and be like, he's right, I should be ingesting essential oils, then again, I can't help you. Because there's a lot of evidence in the rest of the episode that's like, hey, maybe don't fucking do that.
Support feelings in the body, not just physically, how they've been used to help people on the spectrum, that unique one-on-one relationship that wellness advocates have with the people they're trying to help. It's all very customized. I don't have a one-size-fits-all anything. So I like that when the mom who was just desperate for something brought her daughter to a woman's home and they took care of her needs individually. That's what we do. And I love that that was highlight, okay?
I do too. When I posted my unwell video, there were some people who were making comments saying like, I have a child on the autism spectrum, or I'm on the autism spectrum, or, you know, something like that, saying like, oh, I can't do smells. My senses are like overstimulated all the time and I can't do stuff like that. Or like my child can't do stuff like that. And when she says it's not one size fits all, I mean, she's really right here. But the problem is that essential oil touters are very one size fits all in the way that they're like, you have a problem here, there's an oil for that. It's always just oils. That's the answers to everything. But it's not. I think this mother in the show to the autistic child was making the right decision for her child, because you can see that she clearly does respond very well to smells, to that sensation, because she's carrying around a sunscreen bottle and sniffing it all day. There are certain smells and aromatherapy that can help for her, but a lot of people on the spectrum can't say the same thing, you know? While she's sitting here saying, oh, I don't have a one-size-fits-all approach to anything, what else are you going to offer to people besides essential oils? Because there's a lot of different shit that you can offer to people to help, and essential oils aren't gonna help everybody. They probably help a lot less people than we all think they do, so.
These are the things that I like about Unwell, and that we're on the map. Like, I like that oils are being talked about. And here's where it kind of turns into a shit show, and I think you guys know where I'm talking about.
Here's where it turns into a shit show. They start telling us scientific evidence, and these doctors, these doctors. I don't even want to click play right now, because I know the shit she's gonna spew out of her goddamn pie hole is just gonna make me cry. It's gonna make me cry out of frustration. Oh my god. I'm literally just sitting here just like breathing and trying to brace myself, because I know this is gonna get so fucking infuriating. I'm having a physical reaction to this right now. Okay, just do it.
So this is an essential oil emotional roller coaster. The way that this was put together, I feel, was really driven to do a different thing than to sort of inform or warn people of the dangers of these natural therapies.
Well, then what was it then? Because you just got done saying that this specific documentary can open a lot of doors to people using essential oils. But no, now you're saying this wasn't put together in a way to do good things for essential oils. Then what is it? What is it?
This was just really a mismatch of confusing information that was picked and pulled to portray oils the way that they wanted.
No, not at all. They wanted to give each opposing side their own voice, I guess. And the fact of the matter is that the facts are not on your side, ma'am. So when you get people involved in a documentary like this who actually know what they're talking about and have the facts on their side, then of course you're gonna be like, I don't want to listen to that. Okay, well, then you're just fucking ignorant. The information, the emotional roller coaster, like even the people who are pro oils, who are shedding a positive light on essential oils, had differings of opinion. Some people were like, don't ingest them. Other people were like, we ingest them every day. Here's the thing. Everyone who's even like the slightest bit educated on essential oils and aromatherapy and stuff like that have different opinions, and it shouldn't be that way. And then you put all these people together who are on the opposing side, they're all pretty much in agreement on how things go, and that's because the facts don't lie. Science doesn't lie. But you guys sit there and you just like spew dumb shit out of your mouths. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go.
So let's just kind of go through how this episode unfolds very quickly, and I took some time to map this out.
Great.
So the first part, we are introduced to some really amazing essential oil educators who are using essential oils in a hospital setting, and then one-on-one with their individual clients and people that are needing help through oils. So these are some really powerful testimonies. We're seeing them used clinically. We're seeing how essential oils are more commonplace. There's less scariness attached to it, less of the hippy dippy voodoo sort of like, just naysayers kind of thing. Like, we're getting some positive recognition. And the people that were using the essential oils had their aromatherapist certification. They were educated. They cared about it. They highlight chiropractors.
Okay, as far as the education goes, if you haven't watched my video on Unwell yet, where I like provide commentary and actually did some research on some of these people, please do that. I'm not gonna repeat all of that again here, but basically, long story short, this woman is sitting here saying like the first segment was so great because this woman was so educated and da da da. As you'll see in the Unwell video that I did, I went to this woman's LinkedIn and she didn't link anywhere where she got her aromatherapy certification. And even in that regard, getting your aromatherapy certification, you get like the same kind of certificate kind of thing going on, but for different prices and for different curriculum, and 80 hours here and 300 hours here. And it's like there's no consistency in the schools that the NAHA gives like certification to, you know what I mean? They're all just kind of doing their own thing. There's only one place in this fucking country that nationally accredits aromatherapy. Everywhere else, in Sedona for example, if I were to go get my aromatherapy certification, it would take me 80 hours and like $700. That's it. You're gonna sit here and say that they're so educated. Like, whatever, man. Meanwhile, Dr. Z went to somewhere where he had to do 300 hours and it cost him like $1,600. But they both generally have the same certification, like the same certificate. They went through the same programs. There's just a disconnect between the schools, which tells me that, like, I don't think you can fall back on that alone, you know? Being like, oh, I have my aromatherapy certificate. Like, I don't think you can fall back on that. Anywhere you go is gonna be different. Anytime if she ever says anything about there's so many educated people in this documentary, just know that that's what she's talking about. I don't think there was anyone in the show who actually had an accredited degree in aromatherapy. They were all people who were like, oh, I just got my certification. Okay, well, that's what it is. It's really not legit at all.
Who donated hundreds and hundreds of hours and resources into educating anybody online about essential oils. So to me, this is where they started to play up the power of essential oils correctly. You know, they really had some great, interesting people who had a lot to say and some...
I don't know who this chick is, but like, who says we should listen to you? What are your accreditations, you know?
And so then, you know, as this is unfolding, and this is where you need to be careful of the information you're consuming, they start to show doTERRA bottles, Young Living bottles, random oil bottles all throughout. There's just little flashes of doTERRA products, and they're not even talking about doTERRA yet. And so this is where they start to set you up, I feel like, to be manipulated. And so then in comes doTERRA, and we have one of our diamond leaders, Allison, and you can look her up on Facebook and maybe even on Instagram. She's a diamond leader with a huge organization. And what she did is that she really, in the beginning, and I believe that she probably did not intend to participate in something that was going to have this overall feeling to it. And they showed her beautiful home. They showed the power of gathering and what a class can look like.
Her beautiful home that she's making $20,000 a month for off the backs of other people. They showed her talking to one of her recruits and she's just like, it's not profitable. But oh no, Allison has a beautiful home, so why don't we all have beautiful homes? It's all because of essential oils. Thank you, essential oils. Love you.
But where she messed up, and this is where doTERRA even agrees and has, you know, put out their statement to the other diamond leaders about this, is that she spoke non-compliantly. And that's a rookie move. If you were going to have a camera crew come to your house to put you into a Netflix docuseries talking about essential oils non-compliantly and going against company policy, because the standpoint is this: essential oils do not cure, treat, or prevent disease. Essential oils support the body naturally. So when you
So why is she mad then? Because that's really all that the documentary is saying. I don't think it painted anyone out to be crazy. And I mean, to those of us who know that essential oils shouldn't be ingested and blah blah blah, to someone coming into it cold turkey, I don't necessarily think that like they would be like, that Dr. Z guy, he's crazy, or that first lady, that nurse lady, oh, she's cuckoo, or even the Allison chick. Like, I don't think anyone would be like, oh, she's clearly lying and manipulating people. The only people who think, not even all of the pro-oilers, like there are some pro-oilers in there that I don't think sound crazy at all, and I think they have some pretty good points. What is she mad about? What she just said is that essential oils don't cure or prevent any diseases, whatever. Then then why is she mad? Because that's all that any of the scientists were trying to say too. Well, until they got into like the whole Young Living lawsuit with the pyramid schemes and stuff. But I think that's important information that needed to be put out there too. But I think they really demonized Young Living a lot more than they did doTERRA. And I would think doTERRA would just love that.
Talk about them. You have to use that kind of language. To make claims online or to use hashtags, you're doing it wrong. So one thing that's really come up a lot, and it really jeopardizes all of our access to essential oils, is that when you make these non-compliant claims, you're basically sending out an SOS signal to the FDA to come after us. And if our essential oils are taken from us because people can't speak about them responsibly, that affects everyone. And that's something I'm really passionate about.
I do agree with her on this for sure. That nurse at the beginning, that chick who was helping the family with the autistic child, and even that doctor, I forgot her, Joy Bowles, I think was her name, even specifically like said, like, I've extensively studied aromatherapy and blah, blah, blah. She didn't used to be so skeptical, and then certain experiences and information made their way to her, and then she decided to kind of look into it further. I don't really think that any of us were arguing with those people, and it never has. Like, I literally have, I don't know if you can see it every once in a while, but I have an essential oil diffuser sitting right next to me. Now, to be fair, I only use it for aromatherapy, I guess. Like, I have, it's just an essential oil diffuser, but you can use it without essential oils just to be a humidifier, and I've been so fucking congested lately that I need it. Like, the humidity in the air is helping my congestion. I think I put 2 drops in this, in like a whole tub, so it hardly smells like anything. I am not sitting here saying that aromatherapy is wrong. None of us are really saying that. What we are saying is exactly what you're saying here, is that your people are very non-compliant with the FTC and the FDA, I guess, in a lot of ways. Like, she's literally speaking to our points and the same shit that we're all saying as well.
You'll never see me on here posting anything hashtag COVID. You won't see me making any medical claims. I am just talking about supportive information about essential oils and how you can use them to create better wellness in the body. Now, what she did in this docuseries is she started dropping cancer bombs. She started talking about things that were ailments that were non-compliant. And that's where they start to hook you into.
To be fair, I think maybe Netflix probably specifically cast the Allison woman because she had a more, I guess, compelling story. She was more on the side of, yes, essential oils cured my cancer, you know? So that, of course, is going to create more viewership and ratings. And, you know, they certainly could have found other pro-oilers like this woman, for example. But if she went on there and was like, yes, here's how I use essential oils, but I don't think it ever cured anything and I'm not extreme in any way, like, then it's boring, you know? Because at the end of the day, this is entertainment. Unfortunately, using people's ailments and medical issues and stuff as entertainment does kind of suck, but it is informative, so meh, pick and choose your battles, I guess.
Okay, maybe these essential oil people are crazy, because now you have this woman who has this beautiful house.
But not all the people in the documentary who were pro essential oil came off that way. I think they were trying to really just show all sides. That's how I see it anyway, because yeah, it would be a lie to say that people like Allison in the essential oil community don't exist, because they certainly do, and they do in large numbers.
And she's talking about curing cancer with essential oils, and she's using doTERRA. Then they carefully start to piece together the parts about her business. And you guys all know, whenever someone is being filmed, that information can be stitched together in any pattern, in any sequence, to change the way the message is delivered. And so while I do believe that when she was sharing the information about her business, it was meant to be more of an empowering speech, the way they stitched it together was, I make $20,000 a month doing this, and I encourage other moms to do this. And then let's show her on a builder call where her person's like, I just don't think I can manage 14 enrollments a month. Now, I will bet anything that conversation was about Diamond Club or some program. That's not an average conversation any upline has with a builder, at least not in my organization. When nobody that I know demands 14 enrollments a month out of a builder, especially right now. So
it didn't sound like she was demanding anything. Although, yeah, that 14 builders a month or whatever was a very specific number, so it had to have come from somewhere. And, you know, it could have been edited a certain way, but I didn't get the idea that she was being pushy and being like, I'm demanding that you give me 14 recruits a month. Like, I didn't get that message. Maybe other people did, but to me, I didn't see it.
I feel like her conversations were manipulated to try to paint this picture that these essential oil educators are just trying to get your money and they're just trying to make you work hard for them. This sets up the picture of the MLM sort of propaganda, the like typical satire about how, network marketing is, just only one person benefits. So doTERRA was the bridge for that conversation to start to talk about money, okay?
Yeah, it was.
And so this is the part that doTERRA was featured, was these non-compliant claims. And it wasn't even doTERRA as a company, and that's what you need to also stay very steadfast in. This was just one wellness advocate talking about her experiences, having a class in her home, and talking about her business, okay? So that is not a company position. That is an individual.
But she is the kind of individual that you would use her story and her success to model the way you want your business and your success to go. Like, who doesn't join doTERRA wanting to make $20,000 a month, She's a success story that people are probably often passing around. So even though she was portrayed in this way in the Netflix show, I'm sure her story has contributed to her success. Like, she is most likely a role model to a lot of people in doTERRA. And she's not the only person in doTERRA who's making the health claims that she made. And like I said in my other video, I guarantee that a lot of the shit she said was cut out. So I wonder, with how non-compliant her statements were, I wonder what doTERRA is gonna do about it. Going on a national platform, or even international, I don't know who is able to watch Unwell on Netflix, and making claims that you're not supposed to be making, that's grounds for punishment. In my opinion. I'm not saying you need to kick her out of the company, because clearly she's making doTERRA a butt ton of money. But what I'm saying is well, what are you going to do to rectify it, So hopefully doTERRA has taken steps against this Allison chick to be like, yo, you did some shit, and if this is how you've been running your business, if this is how you got to diamond presenter status, something needs to change because you did it untruthfully. What is the word? I don't know. Let's continue.
But because of that, it groups us into the rest of the nonsense. So if you start to go through the rest of this episode after doTERRA has its feature, then it starts to get a little weird. Then it starts to show you that these people gather in the thousands, and they show you the arenas and the packed people and the crying. It looks like...
Is that not what you do? We know that the conventions are like that. It's not like Netflix went up to these people who were crying and feeling overwhelmed and stuff with emotion. It's not like they went up and told people to act that way. People act that way. Especially with Young Living. It's so Christianity-based, faith-based, that it's very likely that people do act like that. She can't just sit here and be like, oh, it's not like that. It clearly is. Netflix didn't set up all those pyrotechnics and shit, they gather, and it's very culty. Netflix is not the only place we've seen footage of these conventions. The Huns are posting it all over the place. We know that this is a pretty accurate representation of how shit really goes. And maybe she's gonna sit here and be like, oh my god, we're not a cult. But Netflix is not the first person to make it sound like a cult, We know how culty your MLMs are. Not just doTERRA, not just Young Living. We know how this shit goes.
There's pyrotechnics, and then we all know, and this is where I'm gonna tangent a little bit and try to keep my shit together, because what they're focusing on is the way Young Living does things. And you guys know that I would never get on here and bash another company, but what I won't do is have us be grouped into that, because that is not who we are as a company or as wellness advocates. So as you guys all know, Gary Young is a crazy person. Rest in peace, no disrespect to him or his family, but he comes down on a body harness flying out of the sky, being pulled by dog sleds in Corvettes and fancy cars. He dresses like he's a ringmaster. His conventions to me look like a circus. What's the doTERRA difference? Our executives are dressed in suits. We focus on the science. We focus on the education. We focus on the purity. We focus on co-impact sourcing. We focus on our partnerships. We focus on our community. We don't need pyrotechnics or AC/DC guitar riffs or dog sleds or explosions or any of that crap, because we stand alone on integrity. And so by starting to paint Gary Vee as this sort of narcissistic crazy person, it paints this very eclectic view of what the essential oil industry really is. It's a bunch of crazy people. And, they brought up the fact that he lost a child during a water birth to make him seem less credible. If you can make this huge powerhouse of a company seem less credible, then by just association, you can try to knock doTERRA down too. But everybody knows there's a difference. Our company is different than Young Living. That's why we are number one. That's why we are the lead.
Well, I think this is a really fair argument to make that, yeah, maybe necessarily we shouldn't be linking doTERRA and Young Living, even though the people who started doTERRA used to work for Young Living. They started their own essential oil company and there were lawsuits and things like that. We all know about that. They left Young Living because they were just pretty much sick of Gary Young's bullshit, which is fair. I want to know where her statistics are coming from that says doTERRA's number one. Like, how do you know your company's number one? doTERRA got letters from the FTC because of coronavirus and shit. I don't think Young Living did, unless I'm mistaken and there were other ones that went out. I know for sure doTERRA did for false medical claims, maybe even also false income claims. I don't remember exactly which letters they got, but Young Living didn't. So to sit here and be like, doTERRA's great, Young Living's horrible, they both have their own bullshit. And also, I feel like doTERRA huns on social media are a lot harder to deal with than Young Living huns. They're a lot more aggressive and uneducated about essential oils. They're always the ones who are making the false medical claims, which is why they get letters from the FTC anyway. Yeah, no, doTERRA is not this like perfect angel company, you know?
That's why we have no purity issues. That's why we don't get busted in court. That's why nobody sues us. And so this is where the excitement and the craziness about essential oils starts to heavily sway to Young Living. And then introduce the compensation plan. And now let's start to dig at what MLMs really do and how they take advantage of poor housewives or homemakers, and it teaches them that they need to buy $4,000 of product in a year.
Well, they do. I mean, yeah, that's generally how it works. As someone who pretty much spends their life researching MLMs and enveloping myself into the mindset and the crazy shit that the people say and they do, along with the income claims and the income disclosure statements and the compensation plans and stuff, I can honestly say that, most MLMs are pretty much set up to fail, except for the top 0.1%. My camera has stopped recording, so I'm sorry. Where was I? I don't even remember where I was. I'm just gonna press play because I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something about that. If you're buying a couple $100 worth of doTERRA stuff or Young Living stuff, you are taking care of your family. You're not just buying product to sit on yourself. I have extra stuff because I...
Really? Because look behind you, bitch. Like, you're gonna tell me you use all of those every single day? Okay.
I have a huge, growing, thriving team. I have to do that as part of my leadership.
She's making excuses for herself for why it's okay that she buys all that stuff, that she spends the money that they're so crucified for doing. Like, it's okay that she does it, but you know what? If you're part of these companies and you do that, then if you're not on my level, then yeah, you're doing it wrong. See, she's saying like, if you spend money on essential oils, it's not because anyone's making you, it's because you want to spend money to take care of your family. And it's like, no, these companies are set up to make you feel like you need to spend that money. Like, I'm sure doTERRA has some sort of monthly minimum they have to meet to get their bonuses and their commissions and stuff like that. Just like any other MLM does. Every single MLM has some kind of like minimum, some kind of requirement you have to make to be able to get something out of it, whether it's a bonus or it's a commission or something like that.
Nobody on my team is ever requested or required to purchase things that they don't actually need.
You don't actually need all of those essential oils behind you. What makes you think that you need all those? And I'm sure that's not the only stash she has. Come on. Define need. You can live your whole life without ever using an essential oil. For most people, this is not something that you need to survive, you know? That's like, it's culty and brainwashy to think that you do need any essential oil in the first place.
And that they're not actually using. And so I find that to be very insulting to have this one person talk about how they felt pressured from their upline to buy.
But it's not just one person! Oh my god. It's thousands of people, if not millions of people. And can I just say that what is spotlighted in this episode is a class action lawsuit, meaning there are multiple people involved, and it's not every person that's ever had a problem like that is depicted in the lawsuit. We hear it with every single MLM. We hear it all over the place. Like, it is not just this one person. It's so unfair for one person to just ruin it all for us. No. You guys ruin it for yourself. You guys fuck with other people all the time. You guys, your company is predatory in nature. It is financially destructive in nature. I just hate this argument so much. Our company's not like that. Yes, it is. They're all like that. Shut up.
And so it starts to this Young Living lawsuit about how Young Living distributors feel like the compensation plan is skewed and that they're being mistreated, and our compensation plan, if you know anything about our company, is different than Young Living's. We actually have one of the best compensation plans. Even our own executives have a cap on what they can make.
They all say this. Our compensation plan is the best. I've never actually really looked into doTERRA's compensation plan, like in a deep dive kind of way. I just happen to know the way MLMs work. I'm not seeing any like class action lawsuits against doTERRA, but they have received multiple letters from the FTC to knock their shit off, and they still haven't. They received some this year, and they received some in 2014 as well. Okay, the FTC is the one who sent them warning letters this year, and then the FDA was in 2014. Their company certainly isn't perfect, and I don't have the time to go through their compensation plan and compare it to Young Living right now. I would love to in the future if I have the time to do it, and I'm sure there are some subtle differences. There are in every MLM. Like, not everyone is like a cookie cutter, the same exact numbers and the same exact requirements and blah, blah, blah. But in general, they all work the same way. I'll take what she's saying with a grain of salt.
Because they care about the legacy of doTERRA and not just a few get-rich-quick people. When you look at the structure, and this is what they talked about, in a company with millions of users in Young Living, only like 46 have made it to their highest rank. If you look at doTERRA, we are living the model of that there is no scarcity, and that if you reach the top, you can continue to do again. That's why we have double presidential diamonds and triple blue diamonds, and we have founders. We've got diamonds every month exploding. We've got lots of high paying ranks. We've got lots of people. There's over 400 and something people in our blue and presidential diamond group because people are doing this and having success. And so,
but 400 people out of how many? Like, how many distributors are in doTERRA? You know what I mean? Just because Young Living only had 46 doesn't mean that 400 is really necessarily any better. Like, statistically, it probably still sucks, but whatever.
What I want you to understand is that because what they're trying to do, and I'm going to try not to sound like a crazy person when I wrap this whole thing up, is that they really wanted to paint a picture that not only are you being sold something that is only benefiting one person, it's a jagged system, it's a kind of a lunatic community, and you know, this is sort of the nonsense you're going to have to deal with if you say yes to essential oils. And I don't like that part. I think that not everyone is as fanatical as that. Not everybody has that viewpoint. Not everybody even has that goal. You know, like, my goal is to just help people now. Maybe 3 years ago I had more of that hustle mentality where I wanted to climb in ranks and I was really focused on recognition, but now I'm very aligned with what I'm doing, but I haven't stopped what I'm doing, and that's the key point. So after they've painted oils out to be a cult vibe, you know, after they've painted it to be this broken monetary system where people...
Like, I don't think that anyone was really painting oils out to be culty, like, but it's just MLMs in nature are culty, and they painted it out to be that way, first of all, because it's true, but second of all, in the segment where they're talking about MLMs. Don't get all butthurt about, oh, they're just painting essential oils to be in a cult light, because I don't really see it that way, and I don't think a lot of people did. It was more so talking about multi-level marketing companies being that way, and they are that way. To anyone watching this who hasn't heard me mention this before, the Genetically Modified Skeptic has a really great video comparing the bite model to MLMs, and the similarities are kind of out of this world with how similar they really are. It's very interesting, and I recommend watching it for sure. But yeah, there are a lot of links between cults and MLMs, and point blank, like, factually, there's just a lot of similarities, and you can't deny that.
We're getting taken advantage of and losing thousands and thousands of dollars. Even after all that, the final slap, the final scare tactic is this woman who, and I'm sorry if you know her or if you're watching this, like, shame on you, dude. Like, for real, you are using essential oils in outrageous amounts, up to 7 times a day internally. You didn't ask questions. I know nobody in doTERRA would ever recommend that.
Well, someone did, because she was with doTERRA. This woman who is at the end, she had like this horrible reaction, which sucks. She doesn't say that she was with doTERRA in the series. And I think very respectfully, you know, it's not necessarily about where you get the oils from. It's just like, this is what happened to me. No matter what essential oils I was using from what this company or that company, I would have had this reaction regardless. Very short short stint of research, I found that she was with doTERRA. And she literally went onto a doTERRA Facebook group and was like, hey, I have these rashes. Did the essential oils do this? And they're just like, no, there's no way. There's no way that happened. And it's like, she was with doTERRA, you know? You know what I'm trying to say? I think this woman's mistaken, and maybe she just didn't look it up to see that she was with doTERRA, but yeah, she was. She was a doTERRA representative or whatever, as well as a customer. So the Allison chick, she said that she was using essential oils multiple times a day as well. This woman in this video here never reprimanded her for that. She just reprimanded her for being non-compliant. But oh, since this woman had a reaction, oh, she's the one who's in the wrong. Like, no, she was steered towards overusing essential oils to fix her shit, presumably by people in the doTERRA community. So people probably like Allison. So it's like, you can't just reprimand one and not the other anyway.
On God's green earth would ever recommend that you take 20 plus drops 7 times a day to help you with your detox. No one would recommend that, ever.
I bet someone would.
The fact that she doesn't talk about the brand of oils is a little bit, conspicuous to me.
It was doTERRA. She's doing it because she doesn't want to paint doTERRA in this horrible light. You should be happy that she didn't bring up that it was a doTERRA representative. It must have been some like off-brand that she got from Best Buy. No, honey, it was doTERRA. Like, she was taking doTERRA.
Second part too is that you can't blanket your outrageous misuse of essential oils and apply it to the rest of essential oilers, people that are doing this correctly, who actually care to research.
But she got her information from people who are like, I am so researched. I am educated on essential oils. She listened to these people like you, lady. This is just ridiculous because here she doesn't know what she's talking about. She probably didn't even watch this segment. She was probably just sitting there shaking her head going, oh, God, oh, I'm so angry. Like, not even actually listening to what is going on. Like, it clearly... She talks about like going into a Facebook group of a ton of other people telling her this and that and this and that. I guarantee you like 90% of those people were probably with another essential oil MLM, you know? I don't know.
Who maybe want to question, if I signed up with doTERRA, even if it was doTERRA, right? Hypothetical. If I signed up with doTERRA and the woman that enrolled me was like, you know what you need to do? You need to make these capsules with 20 drops each and take them every day, put them in all of your drinks. You just need to be ingesting like 150 drops of oils every single day. I would be like, you are out of your mind.
Yeah, you probably would, but maybe you're more logical than most, I guess. But like to people who are vulnerable, especially people who have health conditions and things like that, to those people who are vulnerable, if someone's like, hey, I have a solution for you, it's going to cure your cancer, take 150 drops of essential oils every day, they might do it. Like, you can't be like, oh, no one would recommend that, because first of all, they do. And second of all, no one would listen to that. I'd think that they're crazy. Well, some people do. Just because you wouldn't react that way to someone telling you to take that many fucking oils doesn't mean that other people wouldn't either. I don't know. It's just, this is stupid.
Show me the proof. Show me the research. Show me where this makes sense. Because if anyone has an understanding of essential oils, these are volatile plant chemicals. They are highly, highly concentrated.
But so many people go into these MLM companies, and even not even just MLMs, like with essential oils in general, getting misinformation from a lot of places and not being educated on what they actually are.
The idea behind essential oils is that less is more. You don't need a lot to facilitate a giant change in the body. So the fact that this woman...
Isn't that a false medical claim? Would you say that's a false medical claim? I would say it's a false medical claim. You only do a little bit to make a huge difference. That's placebo. Just placebo.
Had no common sense to question what she was being told by equally another crazy person.
Well, this woman's being a bitch. Like, I'm sorry. She's being a fucking bitch to someone who was physically harmed by her use of essential oils. And yeah, she didn't question things, but so many people don't either. If people question things and got the correct information, no one would be ingesting essential oils. There's no proof that ingesting essential oils does all the shit that they say it does. And I lost my train of thought, so let's keep going. Maybe there's an essential oil for that.
Is a little bit of a red flag for me. Please don't use this one woman's horrendous, terrible experience and her lack of common sense or questioning or research.
Okay, but here's another thing. I'm sorry. In the episode, she taught, and I've never seen this database before, but she says it exists, so let's not poo-poo it. The woman talks about there is a database of a bunch of people who have had similar essential oil side effects. She's sitting here saying oh, she's the only one in the whole wide world who's ever had a reaction like this. Well, that's not true at all. So she's victim blaming. That's not okay. That's not cool at all.
On your own potential use of essential oils. What that was for me, that final piece of this episode was okay, So we have already scared them away from essential oils. We are now warning them that they're lurking in the hospitals and they're lurking all around and they're trying to help people on the spectrum. And these women are making crazy claims in their beautiful homes and they're...
No, because the scientists and like the researchers and all that stuff, those people who were there to dismiss a lot of things that those people were saying, like the woman in the hospital, I don't think anyone said that anything she said was wrong. The people who are responsibly using essential oils in this episode are not being condemned. You know, it's the crazy ones who are like, keep drinking essential oils. You know what I mean? She's the one who's lumping it all together. Netflix didn't do that. Unwell didn't do that. And she's victim blaming. It's just gross.
Lavish MLM lifestyles, and they're all part of this oil cult. And if you join essential oils, you're gonna be taken advantage of and you're gonna lose all your money. And eventually they're gonna convince you to use them. And here's the final kicker. Essential oils are bad for you. They're scary. And so the whole end of the episode was to scare people away from using essential oils because they're like, hey, if you use them, you're going to turn into this melting molten lava monster.
No, because the very end of the episode, maybe she stopped it before because she just got so mad at this woman, at this victim having an allergic reaction to essential oils. The episode ends on the family of the mother with the autistic child, talking about how much better she's doing, talking about the benefits and what she's seen, how she has seen an improvement in her child's behavior and her sleep and all that stuff. Like, it ends the episode on a positive light for essential oils. So I don't know what this chick is talking about. She must have just been like, I can't watch this anymore. Ah! Oh my God. You don't know what you're talking about.
That this woman became because she was doing this all wrong, completely wrong, like ridiculously wrong. Like my 5-year-old, who is also kind of crazy, wouldn't even make those recommendations. So I have a really hard time.
They put like child-proof caps on medication and shit for a reason. Because like 5-year-olds will just eat that shit like candy. Tide Pods? Do we have to talk about Tide Pods? Like, what a fucking dumb argument.
It was very calculated. It was very manipulative. It was very like, oh, here's the potential of essential oils and you can use them in the hospitals and people are using them with their kids on the spectrum. And oh, now you can, create a cool business. But oh, guess what? It's an MLM. It's a pyramid scheme. Look at all these crazy people. And then look at this lady got hurt. You shouldn't partake in that. So for me, the takeaway from all of this was this whole entire episode was to steer people away from asking the questions and even going on that journey. And so what you need to do if you're sharing essential oils.
Well, I think this episode answered a lot of questions. So there's that. With facts and scientific evidence, gave a lot of answers to a lot of common essential oil questions. And I think that's fair.
Is you got to talk about it. Have the conversations because people are going to have questions. When something starts to catch fire or be trendy, it doesn't do you any good to sit back and let things unfold. If you've got something to say, like clearly I do today, then you need to jump on and talk about it because everyone is going to have a thought about this and it's your job to redirect it in a positive way. Now, I can't say that I represent an entire essential oil community because I don't, but I do represent a company that not only stands alone when it comes to purity and integrity, but I know as an essential oil educator that I have a deep responsibility to take care of people safely and to educate them on the safe and practical, effective uses of essential oils. I am living the fact that this lifestyle works. I have offered this to thousands of families because I know it is powerful. And I think right now, what's being taken from us the most? Our power. And so this was just another part of the dialogue, another part of the 2020 shit show to try to scare people away from doing things that will actually help their wellness, that will make them more resilient and more empowered and to give them more of a foundation to stand on. So I really hope you guys have a chance to watch it and don't avoid that because the more you know, the more you grow and the more you can help. And so my takeaway from all of this was, hell yes, essential oils are on the map, dude. We are like trending on Netflix. Essential oils are more than commonplace. They are a household name. Now, what this did is it illuminated the bad companies, the ones that are doing it wrong, the ones that are educating poorly, that don't have the same standards that we do.
doTERRA was one of those companies, just saying.
They don't have the community that doTERRA does. And so it allows us to shine brighter. So do not be afraid by the things that are not serving our model for what we're doing. step up and confront it head on and talk about it, because it's really not that scary. In fact, I kind of did giggle a little bit, and my friend Jen said it best, is that like essential oils are ruffling some feathers right now. So if it's being talked about in a negative way, chances are you're on the right track. It's not hard to kind of sniff out what needs to be illuminated and what doesn't. And so hopefully this has just given you a little bit more, ammunition to continue to share the way that you do and to help people and to be part of that change and building what, a world with freedom truly looks like, and using that in a conscious way. So anyways, that's my spiel. I'm going to try to save this. I hope you guys have a chance to watch it. And once I post it, you can let me know questions, and I'm happy to get back to you and help you answer some of the questions you're getting as well. So have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Alrighty. Bye.
I think this woman's confused. All the shit she said in the video doesn't really align with what she said her takeaways were, She really got heated about the whole, they're trying to paint us in a negative light, da 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 da. As someone who, in general, sees doTERRA and Young Living in a negative light, I didn't get that from this documentary. And maybe that's just because there was a lot of information there that I agree with, and I only agree with it because the facts and the evidence are there to support it. When this woman is talking about the benefits of essential oils, I wonder, what is she telling people then as far as how they can help you and things like that? Because she seems very passionate. I don't see a problem with people using aromatherapy responsibly. I think most of us in the anti-MLM community agree. If you're gonna diffuse some essential oils in your house because you like the way they smell, as long as you're doing it responsibly, who cares? We don't give a shit. What we give a shit about is that there are people who lie about essential oils, lie about their effects and their effectiveness and the things they can do to get sales, to essentially recruit people, and that's where we start to have a problem. And I think it was pretty well detailed in the episode. This woman just got so mad that people disagree with her. If you can't listen to the opposing side, you're just gonna live in an echo chamber your entire life. Now, if this woman actually does go out and say, don't ingest essential oils, don't say that it can do all this shit that it can't do, and actually sticks to that, if she isn't actually going around and preaching anything other than aromatherapy and anxiety relief, and even maybe pain relief, because we know there is some evidence to say that lavender oil can reduce migraines and things like that. Let's say may, because it's not for sure. If she's leaning on that shit, fine. But if she's going and giving other people medical advice that is not supported by scientific evidence, then she's just as bad as the rest of them. But I don't know. I'd have to watch some more of her videos maybe to see what kind of things she says that essential oils can do, and then draw my opinion from there. I think she got a lot of things wrong, but she also got a lot of things right. My takeaway is that y'all need to fucking chill if you think that Unwell was purposely trying just to paint them out in a negative way. Because like I said, it ends the episode on a positive note for essential oils. So what do you want them to do, dude? Yeah, they focused on some pretty negative shit, but they also focused on some positive shit. Some things that you guys would like to see get out there. If that documentary didn't include any of the scientific evidence and the woman who was physically hurt by essential oil usage, you guys would love this fucking documentary, But the fact that they presented facts and then now here's the opposing side, you didn't like it because you guys can't fucking debate. They can't. They just trying to debate with someone in an MLM. It's like talking to a brick wall. And I get the feeling that that's how this woman is. Anyway, that was an interesting ride. And I'm trying to kind of wrap this up quickly because my camera's about to die. So I feel like I had a lot of other things to say, but technological issues and shit. Anyway, let's thank my patrons! The biggest thank you in the whole wide world goes to Unknown System Error, Michelle Matthews, Irene Nordid, Amanda McMahon, Corey Allison, Molly Larson, Rach J, Karina Winman, Maria Burchett, Molly Wasilewski, Meredith Nakata, Turd Ferguson, Katrina Rosemarick, Elizabeth Wyatt, Real Fly Realize, Tara Jensen, Evan Adler, Cat Loves Things and Stuff, Chandrea Christensen, Hey Felicia 93, Katie and Nick, Laura Lynn Martin, Eve Blondo, Clark Grace, Whitney James, Jackie Waple, Daniel Urena, April Lindblom, Bobby, Tuesday the 13th, Justin Kelsey, E. Higgins, Savannah Karkoskis, Maddie, Boris Geller, Rachel McHenry, Desiree Lopez, Molly Bresson, Vanda's Closet, Kim Cartwright, JP Regino Schaefer, Maddie Darley, and Kelly Creffield, and to the rest of my wonderful patrons. I don't know why that was so out of order. That was weird. I had a hard time reading that because Patreon changes shit all the time. But anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Even if you're not a patron, thank you for making it to the end of this video. Keep making waves, babes. I'll smell you guys later. Mommy Tsunami out.